Hi, everybody. Coming to you from an undisclosed location known as the front of my house, and after an undisclosed activity that might be known as bike riding. Just got back from my bike ride, and I wanted to talk to you today. It's the first time I've done my bike ride in a few days, and it's the first time I'm recording a short in a few days. And that is because of the subject I want to talk to you folks about now, and it has to do with the subject of fear. Fear that can affect you in a variety of different ways, and in this case, how it might affect your writing process. Quick personal story. A few years ago, I was in the middle of a tennis match, and I suddenly felt like something was very wrong with my body, and specifically my heart. I couldn't catch my breath. I was lightheaded. I didn't have any pain or anything like that, but something felt really wrong. What it turned out had happened was that my heart had slipped into atrial fibrillation, which basically means that your heart, instead of beating in a steady, what they call sinus rhythm, your heart basically quivers instead. The electrical currents are screwed up, and so it beats erratically, faster, slower, all over the place. And it feels awful. To be clear, you're not going to die from it. Your heart is still beating, but it feels awful, and it's not the way it's supposed to be. And if you don't treat it, it can increase stroke risk and all this kind of stuff. So I was hospitalized twice for this to put me back into rhythm. And the first time that it happened, as they were about to put me into rhythm, I had to be put under anesthetic to do that. I was convinced that I was going to die. It was the worst night of my life. It was the worst experience that I've ever had. I thought I would not see my children, my wife. My life at the age of 41 at the time would be over. And so I bring this up because this past Tuesday, on my birthday, my heart again slipped out of rhythm and went into atrial fibrillation again. Now this time, because I had been through it before, it wasn't my first rodeo, I didn't get as scared or as frightened. I took the medications I was supposed to take, and it went back into rhythm the way it was supposed to, and I'm fine now. And it has only been generally multiple years between episodes, so this is not something that happens all the time. Why am I bringing this up now? Because that fear, that crippling fear, not just from the event itself, but then every time I have a skipped beat, every time my heart rate increases, is this going to happen again? Am I going to slip out of rhythm again? Can I ride my bike? Can I do these things if I'm afraid that this is going to happen? That kind of fear, in a way, was far worse than the event itself. And so I want to give you that suggestion in your writing as well. When we get terrified that we're not going to be able to do something in our writing, that we're going to fail in our writing, when we get terrified either mentally or emotionally or physically, that fear is what it is. It is something to acknowledge that it exists. You don't want to pretend it's not there, but you also don't want to let it cripple you. I want to encourage you to think of fear as a process that the more you know about it, the more you can overcome it. And given time, you can move beyond it, as I was able to in the past few days. It's good to see you all. I'll see you folks later in the week.